So today I'm going to design a Christmas ornament. Actually, it's a Christmas ornament I've already made before, but I want to show people how to actually make this ornament. It's a Christmas countdown. You can change the design however you want with whatever artwork you want. I'm going to use the artwork that I've used. I'm going to show you how to set it up and create all the different pieces for it, because it's actually 3 layers to make this ornament. I'm going to show you how to do text on a curve. I'll show you how to open up your art library so you can store your images or your artwork into a library so you can retrieve them when you want to reuse your artwork that you've already used before. So let's start. I'll open up the art library so you can kind of see how that is. It's a really simple one. You just go to Window, you scroll down until you see Find Art Library, and you click on Art Library, and then it opens up your art library. For me, I have Christmas ornaments on here already. I'm going to actually enlarge the size of this so you can see the elements a little better. And that's just on the top icon size. I have a lot of different libraries in here, so, faces, things like that. Since we're doing a Christmas ornament, because it's coming, even though this is still late July, last day of July. Oh, sorry, correct that. The first day of August. We still have almost 4 months before Christmas. But you have to start making things and preparing for Christmas. So therefore, we are going to do a Christmas ornament. The overall, basic size of this ornament is going to be 100 millimeter circle. So let's start by creating a circle. Now normally when you open up Lightburn, this comes up as a rectangle. So you click that little bottom corner here where it's got a little green corner on it. You click on it, you can change the shape. Okay, so that now I've got a circle selected. So what you do, if you hit the Shift key, it'll make a exact circle, not an ellipse. So if you don't hit the Shift key, you can end up with an ellipse like this. If you hit the Shift key and pull it, it's going to make a perfect circle. So I'll select that and delete it. We don't need that. And I want 100 millimeter as my starting point. So we'll go up here and we'll change one of them. I have it locked, so changing one changes the other. And now we got our 100 millimeter circle. Now the other thing, so we're going to duplicate this circle. So just click on it, click just off of it. Sorry, can't get my mouse isn't working properly for some reason. Let's try this again. Nope, not letting me do it. Okay, I use I like to use key shortcuts. Control D or Control C will copy it. Control V will paste it. So now I've got another copy of this. You're going to need 3 100 millimeter circles. Yeah, 3. Sorry, I'm thinking in my mind what I'm doing here. And so we just paste another one. So we've got 3 of them. Now what you want to do is take one of them, and we'll put the number of days on one of these. So we'll be doing, this is where we'll be doing the text on a path. So the way we're going to do this, I'm going to select this one here, and I'm going to create an offset of the circle. And I'm going to do it to the inside. So I'm doing it inward. You can select outward, inward, both. We're doing inward. Right now it's got an offset about 14 millimeters. That might be too much. Let's do about 10 millimeters. I think that's what I used before. I don't remember. Now what we're going to do is these are actually separate circles now, but they're within each other. I'm going to move the middle circle to a tool layer. I'm going to put on tool 2. So now it's on tool 2 layer. Now we're going to go and we're going to grab our text editor. So you go here, go down and select text, which is this A over here on the side of your toolbar. Select A, go up here, and we'll start typing in our numbers 1 through 24, right? So we're going to do a countdown from like the 1st of December to the 25th of December. the last day is no more days, right? So we won't have a 0 on here. We could put a 0 on here. In fact, let's do that. I didn't do 0 when I did mine originally, but we'll do 0. We'll have 0. I don't like this script. Wrong script. Let's change our file. I have a partiality to REL black for some reason. Okay, so 0, put a space, 1 space, 2 space, 3, oops, 3 space, 4 space, 5 space, 6 space, 7 space, 8 space, 9 space, 10 space, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. Let's shrink this down a bit and we'll come back and we'll read. Sorry. Careful when you're moving your mouse. It likes to flip if you go too low like this. So it flips everything upside down. We gotta make it small enough so it comes into our circle. I'm gonna actually zoom in on the whole project and reset. So holding the space bar brings up a little hand, and that allows you to move your screen around. Now I'm going to say this text is still too big for what we're going to do. We're going to make this smaller as we go in a little bit, but right now we'll start with that. We'll add the rest of our text. So if you double click at the end of your text line that you have, it'll bring back up your editor. See the little blinking icon there. So we can now go back and continue. Okay, so we got 0 through 24. So it's going to start, so the countdown is going to go from 24 down to 0, which is 25 total days, right? So now what we'll do is we'll go ahead and we'll select the, oh, sorry, got it. If you hit the escape key, it'll take you up to your selection menu here, and that'll allow you to select rather than edit. If you ever, or you can just go back up and click the arrow manually and put it into select. So now I have my selection tool. I'm going to select the circle, and under tools, I believe that's where it's at. It's apply path to text. Click on that, and now the text is applied. So we see our text string is too long right now, right? We're overlapping right in here. It goes 21, 22, you don't see 23, 24, and so on. So what we'll do now is we will click on our text editor again, and click on our text. We'll go in here. No matter where. We're going to reduce the size again. Oh, click on it. We can reduce the size of our text. Oh, that's reducing my circle. That ain't what I want. Oh, okay, let's back out. Now we'll reduce our text size again. Now selecting the, I have both selected still. I want just the text selected. Shrink it down some more. And then we'll select our circle again, and then we're going to apply our text to path again. And now we've got enough room. And you want a gap in here. The reason you want a gap because you need that as a window for excuse me, as a window for your text to show up through on one of the other layers. The other thing we're going to do is we're now going to add a little handle to this. So the handle is so that as we're going through and doing our days and counting down, we can excuse me. So the problem here right now, this is upside down, and I don't want it upside down. I forgot how to do this again. I don't think flipping it's going to work on that. Can't remember. How do they do this? Oh, I know what I did. Okay, so back out again. Get back to where it's just a text string again. And then what we're going to do is we're actually going to flip it 180 degrees. Rotate 180. Up here at the top of the menu, we have a rotate there. Let me make a change here because I know it's hard to see the little cursor, and I lose these cursors all the time. I'm going to go to System Settings, and I think it's here. Mouse. Let's see. Mouse and cursor size. I like a larger cursor so that we can see it on the screen easier. You get a black arrow like that. Let's change the color. Okay. Now make it easier for you to see, follow my mouse around the screen than that little white arrow. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're actually going to rotate this text 180 so that it's upside down. Just type in 180 and hit enter, and now it's upside down. Now we have our text selected. We'll select our tool layer that has our little circle on it that we're going to apply the text to path to. Go back up and go into tools and apply path to text, and now it's upside down still. That's weird. I didn't expect it to do that. I did not expect it to turn it upside down. I just can't remember how I did this. Now that I want to try and flip it. Let's see if that works. There we go. So I just went up here to okay. I think it's been a while since I worked on this. So up here you can flip horizontally or flip vertically. I flipped it and that turns it all over for me so that we're going the right way. So we didn't need to flip it 180 as I did before. This might be a little off. I might end up enlarging this a little bit to make it fit better. But we'll start with this as our beginning. So what we want to do is we'll have a little arm that gets used. And the little arm, we want to actually have the whole thing kind of rotate. So clicking on the circle allows you to rotate. Clicking on the number only edits the number settings. So what we want to do though is we want to rotate our circle. So we'll click on the circle and we'll rotate, which rotates the text. I want to turn it off to the side. Because when we have the hanger is going to be straight up and down. You want to have a little lever that allows you to turn your numbers. So that's what we're trying to do at this point. Now just to make sure everything's lined up properly, we'll click the outside circle and the inside circle. And then we'll hit this alignment. So we'll align it vertically, and then we'll also align it horizontal. And now make sure everything's lined up right with the center. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to put a little handle out here so that you can turn the days and make it go from 24 down to 0. Now what I want to do is I want to get my 24 though right dead center, because I'm going to have a window there. I'm going to make this circle a bit bigger. I think we're a little off on the, you'll need to realign everything again after you enlarge it. Excuse me. Okay, so we've got everything realigned again. Then we'll need to rotate it again because it changed the orientation of the 24. Okay, so the other thing we need to do is we need to create another circle because you're going to have a cutout in the middle. This ring has to be able to rotate. If you have it as a solid ring, it's not going to be able to rotate. So we're going to create a separate ring that will become our pivot point for this to rotate on. So that will get cut out and it'll be a circle. You'll actually end up gluing that circle in the middle, this middle circle here. It'll be a total circle that's a solid circle when you cut it out because they're all going to be cut lines. So the text is going to be an engraved line. And they went on the tool layer. I don't want it on the tool layer. I want it on my line layer. Oh no, not on my line. Put on number 1. Move my tool line down because it doesn't do anything for us other than, and you don't need to frame it because you don't want to frame on that line. And we don't have to show it, but it's nice to know where it is so we can align things. So okay, now we got this. We're going to change this from line to fill. We'll set our speeds later. Some of my stuff is set up for when I was running my D1, my X-Tool D1 Pro laser. But this is all going to get changed to match my settings for my my Monport 65 watt CO2 laser. Okay, anyway, so now we have that part done. We're going to add a little handle to this. The way I do this is kind of maybe different than what everybody else does. I'm going to go to a little rectangle, and I'm going to make a rectangle. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to select all of these. And I'm going to rotate everything. Because it makes it easier to work with a square straight up and down than it is to work with a square at an angle, because you got to rotate the angle of the square to match everything. So I'm going to put that so it overlaps. And I'm going to put it on layer 1's okay. Turn on the output so you can see it better. Okay, so layer 1 is okay for that. Well, not really. It's going to be a cut layer, so it should be on layer 0. So we'll put this on layer 0. So the way you do it is, if you select an item, then select the layer, it will move that to the layer. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to make it add another box to this, or actually I'm going to add a circle to this. So we'll go and change this to a circle, or to an ellipse. Come on. Sometimes it doesn't want to. There. Ellipse. Hold the shift key. Make a circle. We'll drag it down. I think it's a little too big here. We're going to change the size of that. Yeah. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to merge these guys. You know, doing like a, let's see if a union works. I think a union will work. Okay, so that's what I wanted. And then we're going to select this, and we'll select this one, and we're going to merge that. So now we've made a little handle that goes on our on this. So this is our very first part of the ornament. I did this first because I wanted to show you all the techniques that were involved. How to put text on a circle, how to do all this stuff. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to go, I think I have somewhere a snowflake. I don't know for sure where. I got so many art layers. I don't see my, oh there it is, snowflakes. So I'm going to grab a snowflake. Don't want a super detailed one because this is going to go in that little handle. I'm going to choose this one here. and drag it out from my library and put it on my workspace. And then I'm going to shrink it down. And that looks pretty good. And I got a little snowflake that's inside my handle for this. You know, Christmas, gotta have a little, gotta make everything Christmassy, right? Okay, so this is that first layer. It's complete. I want this to engrave, so it's gonna go on the 0-1 layer. So we'll put that on the 0-1 for my engrave layer. What you can do so that if you know what you actually want, what you're going to do with everything, you can actually label these by going in here where it says cut settings. So the way I got there, okay, sorry, I went quick. If you double click on the layer in your cut layers menu, it will open it up. You go in here, you can change the name. So I'm going to change this to engrave. And then over there in that menu, it will show engrave. Okay, so that's an easier way of doing this. We're going to have more than one cut layer. Because well, we might have more than one cut layer. I don't know yet. Let me back that up. Anyway, this part is complete. So what we'll do is we'll take this whole thing now and we'll select everything that's in there, and we're going to group it all together because that's one complete layer. It's finished. There's nothing. Now when we move it, it moves as one item. Okay, the next thing we're going to do is we're going to take one of the other circles that we created earlier, bring it out here where we can work on it. So this one we're going to cut a little window in it, and so what I'm going to do is I'm going to end up rotating my text again now. And I'm going to rotate the whole object. And put 24 back on top again. And we'll take our other one that we were working with before. Oops, I moved everything. Didn't want to change that one. I want this one. So what we're going to do is we're going to cut a window into that piece. So the way we're going to do that is we're going to make us a window. So we're going to go up here and grab a rectangle again. And we'll make a little window. That's going to be for our number to go in. And then we'll go back to the selection tool so that we aren't creating more rectangles. We'll place that over the top of the 24. Just so we can kind of see what size we really need. We'll shrink that down now. Bring that up. And I am going to come out of the lock. And I'm going to bring that up like that a little bit. And we'll put that on. That's not what I want. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to select this layer now. I'm going to hide it. The way you hide it is go to show and output and turn those off. Now you can't be able to see, what happened there? How come that didn't disappear? That should have went with the other part. Let me do something about that. Something didn't go through to the other layer for some reason. Or something didn't go with our grouping, I should say. Okay, so these are all selected now. I will group them again. Now when I hide, oh, that's why. They are on different layers, and that's why it still shows. So what I'm going to do is I am going to put my second circle on a separate layer. So I can, just for working, but eventually move it back to, oh, okay. I accidentally grouped in the second circle, which I didn't want. That's all grouped together. Okay. I'm gonna put this on another layer so that I can work on it separately. I'll put it on the red layer. I'm gonna put everything back by doing Control Z. Put everything back, back where I was lined up. Okay. I have this on a separate layer anyway, so I can click on it and it won't click the other one. What I want to do is I want to actually, I believe this is trying to remember how to do this. You can actually add curves to the remember how to do that. It's been a while since I've done this, so I'm trying to remember how to do some of the things. Nope, not that. Ah, there we go. Click corners to round them. And that will, if I click corners to round, you click on each corner of your square and it will round off your corners for you to make it more so it's not square, right? I mean, nobody wants to see it square. My number's not perfectly square here on my 24. Grab my window now and move it over the 24. So what we want to do, just to make sure everything works, is to rotate through all the numbers. And of course it's going to do that. That's what I wanted. Okay, correct. Cancel that. So what it's going to do is it's going to select. I need to ungroup it all because I want to select just my circle, and I want to rotate through my numbers to make sure they all fit within the box and don't overlap. So when I get them centered, you don't see another number coming into the frame. This is just a verification because especially when you get down to the low numbers, the 0, 1, 2, and so on, they take less space. And so the space between the numbers becomes less. So we start getting down here, we're starting to see where we get part of the 9 now into the 8. We don't want that, right? So what we want to do is we need to select our text, and we're going to add some spacing to it. Right now I have -2. So that's not what I want either. Let's try that. Let's see if that works. Go and select our circle again. And we'll rotate that over to 8. And it's a little bit better, but not quite there. You see, you're kind of getting to where 7 and 9 are still almost in. So we'll go ahead and we'll change that spacing a little more. Select our circle again. Rotate back to 8. Not enough still. Okay, we'll do it some more. Sorry, wrong one. Horizontal spacing. Make it 4. Okay, so that's a problem because see what it's done now is it's pushed our letters, our numbers rather, to the sides. So there's other ways to do this. We could put spaces in automatic ourselves let's try that, because this didn't work, because it's crushing our numbers. Right over here we lost 23 and 24. So we want to fix that back. So we're going to go back into our numbers again, and we'll change, oops, wrong way. Change that back. We need that space, because that's our dead space for when this handle is aligned with the hanger. There's no number in the window. It's always going to only have a number in the window when it's lined up properly. Okay. Get 8 back in there. I mean, it's really close. As you can see, we get down here to 6, 5, 4, 3, 2. It's very close. It's just off by a minute amount. So I don't know if I can put a space in here just by typing a letter. My text editor. That just took away too much of our other spacing. So we didn't want that. Okay. We were playing with horizontal spacing before. Oh, let's try this. Nope. Adding too much. Now let's try one other thing, which is to actually see if I edit the text, if it edits only the, oh, there's no, yeah, it doesn't select text, so you can't really do in between on it. So let's do this, which is we'll rotate the whole thing at 24 again, and we'll make the box just big, a little bit bigger than the 24, and see if that solves the problem. Go to selection tool, select our circle, rotate that around back to 24. Well, my box is barely bigger than the 24 now, so, but we will try. Back to zero fits. See how 2 kind of encroaches in here, but I can't do anything about it because adding horizontal spacing. Well, let's try something. I was doing it 1 at a time, but maybe I don't need 1. Maybe I can go with like 0.5 spacing and see if that will make it work. Okay, so 0.5 just barely gets the 2 and barely gets the 0 in. So I might be able to go to 0.6 on that. We'll try 0.6. Come on. Select our letters. There we go. Okay, so that gave us a little more spacing on that, but not much. Ring. that's about as good as I'm gonna be able to get out of this, unless I just reduce the whole font size. That's another method I could do. I could actually reduce the font size by changing this from 7.3 to 7, and that shrinks the whole thing down. And then I might be able to shrink our box down a little more. Too much. So that gives me a little bit of spacing on the 2, 4. Let's see what happens with the 1 as we rotate over to it. It might actually have it closer because of that. I could actually put extra space in there. And now, though, because it put those extra spaces in, because we made the text smaller, we can go through and increase that spacing a little bit now. So let's see how that works out. Let's select our circle again. Put the 1 in the middle. Maybe I can go a little bit farther. I'm going to change the whole thing to just a 2. Select our circle. So that pretty much gets the 1 all the way in. Let me go to like a, let's try 2.3. Okay, let's try going, well, let's see if I can go a little more. I know I'm nitpicking here, but you kind of get the idea. You just want to get things kind of so that everything fits when you do it. Let's try 2.5. You just don't want those other numbers to show up in the box. Let's go check our 24 again. So if 24 fits in our box, 1 fits in our box, and leaves 2 and 0 out. So we're good to go on that. So that's good. Put everything back to where we were before. So our 24 comes up here. Oops, what did I do? Here, 24 back in the middle here. Okay, so we got all that, We have our separate circle here that we just put our window into. So this is your top layer of the ornament that we just made that has a little window in it. So what we're going to do is we're actually going to duplicate this guy. What we did here with the, so I'm going to rotate everything back. Oh. I think that's it. Oh. Rotate back up to the top. I always forget that this thing, now that it's got the handle on it, it offsets everything. Let's not worry about that. I can. The circle's already taken care of. I will put. I was gonna put that on another layer, right? Put that back on another layer, and we'll hide that layer. that's out of our way and we don't see what's going on here. I'm going to rotate that back up to the top. Hit it again. Let's group that. So that when I rotate it, it comes all together. How come that's not rotating with it? Okay. This should be rotating with that. Group it. Try again. Okay. Why is it doing that? Oh, I know why. Add that to the group. So now when we rotate everything, it goes all together. Okay. The only reason I'm doing this is so that I can make this handle line up with the, I'm going to ungroup that now. Ungroup it again. Because I want to be able to rotate the text. As you can see, that where it's at is not where I really want this to be. I wanted it to be in the center of the dead space like that. I'll check that alignment later when we get the window back up and make sure the 24 aligns properly with that layer. That should allow it to go over far enough. Yeah, it should work. Okay, so we got all that. What I wanted to do is I wanted to make another rectangle that covers this area here, so that it overlaps with that. And we'll put that on layer 2. Even though now you won't see it, but I just wanted to get the general gist of it. Now I want a circle. Come on, menu, open up ellipse. We're going to go shift. Put on layer. I'll put on another layer so I can see it. I'm adjusting the size till it fits the same size. What I should have done was made sure it was the same size to begin with by actually typing in a number for the circle. Anyway, so now I have the circle here. I'm going to put it on layer 2, which is where my, oops, come on, which is where my other layer is at. And then we'll turn layer 2 back on so we can see it. We'll move our tool layer down a layer. I like having all my cut layers above my tool layer. And then we're going to move this so that we are on the horizontal, the same direction. This way. And that moves that to that center there. Looks like it's off just a little bit. Okay, so now we got that all aligned again. Move that over to the center here. And what we'll do is we will take our inside circle here and our square here, and we're going to align them as well so that things are the same dimensionally. can see that that needs to go there. My red layer here needs to shift slightly. Oh, wrong one. Towards the black layer, not the red layer. It would have been easier if I hadn't welded all my parts together on the first layer, because I could center everything on the circles without but with the handle, the center is not the same center now. But anyway, we got that done, and we got what we wanted out of it. I'm going to turn off that layer so I don't see it, and I will hide my text, and I'll hide my tool layer. Okay, so this is our top layer. In our top layer, we're going to have a cutout window, so that's not going to be, you're not going to subtract or anything from that. It's we'll just actually group those two together. No, sorry, I want to merge these guys first. And then I want to merge this guy into the handle. Well, select. And merge those together. So now we have that all as one piece, and then I'll go ahead and I will group those together as that part. We can leave it on this layer if we want to, because it will allow us to keep track of our different elements of our item that we're working on. The only other layer you have is the back layer. No, let's do our on layer 2. Let's turn our other layer so we can see it. And we'll shrink that down to fit at the same size as our, oh, I know an easier way to do this. Easier way to do is to select the other snowflake, copy it, paste it, and it's the same size. And then we'll put it on layer 2. And we'll drop that right on top of the other one. So now both those things have their own leaf on them. We can hide the layer if we want, and you can see that that has its own, and then this has its own. And now we'll just I'm going to move this back to the blue layer, to number 1, because that's my engraved layer. Okay. And let's see. Now we want to do I want to move everything off. Hide that, hide that. Oh, I need to grab one of the snowflakes. I'm gonna temporarily put it back on the red layer. Oh, no, I didn't want a snowflake here. That's what's wrong. Okay. Delete one of the snowflakes. I only want one snowflake. The handle for this layer is our hanger, so we want to put a hole in it. So that was almost a 20 millimeter circle when we did that. close to 20 millimeter anyway. A little bit smaller than 20 millimeter, but close enough. I'm going to shrink it anyway. I just wanted to use it. Okay, so I'm going to use this as to create that offset circle by going into the offset tool. Definitely don't need 18. That's quite good right there. We'll give it a 4 millimeter offset, and that creates our inner circle. We can get rid of this other one now. I don't need it. I just needed it for aligning. Okay, now we have a place to hang, so we can hang our decoration, our ornament, and we'll group that in. Okay, so these are all cuts. Nothing is a fill. So we'll change that all to a line. And this is probably all good for what we're, no, this should be like 300 for an engrave. I forget what it is on my laser. I have to go look at my test, my speed versus power test. Change that to 50. Go and change my name here. Cut. Cut middle. So that's the middle layer. Cut. And then we're going to change this one to cut top. So that we know what they are as we're looking at it. And then we have our engrave layer. The back layer is just a cut, and it's just a single circle. So the one that we already have, I got some garbage in here. So the other circle that we already have, let's shrink down, it's on layer 0, is already set. Sorry. Okay. The other thing we can do on our top layer is add some artwork to it. So we'll turn off this guy, and we'll turn off the blue layer. So now we just see our top layer. We can move that off to the side because you're going to cut these on separate layers. You aren't going to cut them off the same piece. So this just makes it easier to move things around. Now you can see everything. So these are our 3 layers. This is your top. This is where you add whatever decorations you want to have. So the decorations I used myself on my version of the ornament was this Santa sleigh. I didn't like it in this direction, so I rotated it 180. So nope, wrong way. 90 minus 90, so 270. No. Oh, because I already changed. Forgot. Let's redo that. I already had it. That was the original way. I want to actually just flip it horizontally. So we will flip it here, and that will put it in the direction I want it to be. I like to go, for some reason I like things going from left to right. And we'll resize it so it fits within our ornament window. So like this, our Santa sleigh being pulled by reindeer. We'll make it a little bit bigger. Just want to keep everything in the size of the ornament. Okay. Sorry, my throat starts getting dry and then I start coughing. I'm not in the garage, so I'm not smoking. I'm in my office upstairs. I can't cut anything here. I have no lasers in this room. Okay, so now we want to add our text, like days until Christmas. And so we'll go into our text file. And now we want something kind of whimsical. Trying to remember what I had. I like using the type of a script file. So I'm not seeing what I'm looking for. Thought I had that font loaded on here. Let me I can look at it here. This is my original design. This is where I made a bigger one because I made it for work and we put it on our tree at work. Let's see, grab that. I almost have it grouped. Ungroup. Edwardian script I use. Okay, I didn't realize what one I used. Okay. I thought I had a different holiday one that I was using, but like Wonderland or something like that. Okay, so we'll go on our Edwardian script that I have selected now. So we'll go into our text and we'll type days until select our selection tool, bring it here, shrink it down. I'm going to select our text, select this guy, and I'm going to center left to right, basically. And that moves our days until Christmas to be centered underneath our window. And then we'll go and we'll open up a new text box, and we're typing Christmas. Now what it does is it remembers what size you resize things to, so now my Christmas is the same size as my days until, but I don't want it that size. I want it bigger. And the other thing I'm going to do is I'm going to rotate that. Now maybe I want to rotate the days until as well. Okay, so that gives us our ornament. So all you gotta do now is you just take it down to your layer and you cut out all three of these parts. When you glue it together, So what you could do is you go ahead and copy that circle and center it with the back piece. Oops. That ain't what I wanted. Must be linked together. How can I show linked? What are these little pieces I got? There's a little garbage in here. There. Copy that circle. Put it in here. Select the other circle. Align horizontal, align vertical. And that centers those two up. I want to put this on the engraved layer because I don't want to cut through that circle. I want to engrave it. That's so that you can align the piece that you're going to cut out of the middle layer here. This circle, you're going to align it with this circle so things stay lined up. So what I recommend doing when you go to cut this is you put some double-sided tape on the back side of the where your middle layer is going to be, so that when this cuts out, you have some tape that you can stick to the back. You don't want the tape on this part though, so you want to put it's better to put the tape on it after you've cut it out, or you can glue it with cyanoacrylic CA or super glue, whatever you want to call it, and you glue it to this part inside the circle that you engraved, so that you keep things lined up so everything stays straight. I'm going to group all this together now into one layer. I don't like this is rotated too much one way. See how the Christmas is closer to the L on until. So we'll rotate that slightly and maybe move it up and over a little bit. No, not enough. Okay, let's move our Santa down a little bit. Just adjusting the way things look. So it still looks like it's a little low on the until side. Okay, so that's a little better. So now we're all set. We'll just take everything that's in that section now, highlight it, and we'll group it all together. Doesn't matter if you group them; they're still going to be on separate layers when you go to cut. So when I hide this layer, it still hides those parts. But when you select everything, if you select any one, it selects them all. So that way you can move them around together, because you may want to rotate things to conserve space on your wood. So let's say we're cutting basswood, 12 by 12 inches. So that is what I normally work with. So I'll set up a tool layer, and I'll set up a square. Shift key, square, so it comes out the same size. It's on the right where to go. What layer do I have selected? I don't even know what layer I have selected now. Oh, I put on tool layer. I thought I put it on tool layer. Oh, wait, no, it didn't show up on the tool, so that's why I'm confused. That's very strange. Okay, let's put it on a regular layer first. Fine. No. That's weird. Oh. Never mind. I had the wrong tool selected. Rectangle. Go to my tool layer. Draw a rectangle. It's the same size. I think it's 308.4 for 12 inches. What's going on? Why didn't it? 304.8. I can look that up just to verify that, but I'm pretty sure it's like that. Inches to millimeters, and we're going to put in 12 inches and 304.8, okay, which is what I set it to. Okay, so at 304.8, it's on a tool layer. I usually put it in the kind of the home position, and then I just rearrange all of my, just threw a little spot on there. Then I just rearrange all my pieces so that they group that. Group all that. So now they're all on their own, and I can move them around as I feel. So that allows me to move that layer up toward the corner. And what I can do is say, well, I got this wasted space here. Well, let me use that wasted space, right? Let me rotate my piece so that it fits into that corner. And that allows me to conserve my material. And I can do the same thing with this piece. I can, I can rotate it as well, so that it goes over the top of the other piece, right? It conserves my material there too. Then I can take this last one and bring it up. Now you can put it here, you can put it in here. So I have a tendency sometimes to put it like this, because then I'll have this section here that I can cut out and use for speed and power test if I need to do it again. Like after I replace the mirrors on the laser, or I realign my laser mirrors and I need to do a speed and power test to make sure everything is right again still. And so then I can use this section here that I can cut out and do a speed power test on. So it's up to you how you want to lay out your material. If I'm worried about that piece, I'll just put it over here directly under it. But anyway, those are all your parts. This will be engraved. This will be your back piece. You put some glue here, or you put some double-sided tape on this piece once you cut it out, and then you stick it within the lines that you've engraved on here. All the numbers get engraved. Your little snowflake here gets engraved. Need to change this. Okay, I need to ungroup that because I need this to go on the engrave layer, those two items, to go on the blue layer, because we're engraving those. And then we got the Santa Sleigh, which is an image file. So you can have it on the same layer, but I don't want to do it on that layer. I'm going to put it on the blue layer because I want it to be an engrave, and I want it to be at a lower power. I don't want to cut this layout. And then we'll put that on the blue layer as well. So that's all on. So now this image file, which is the Santa Sleigh, is also on the blue layer. So it's weird that it's going to use a different setting. We'll change that to the same settings, 300. And what was it, 50? 50. And that will set that. 50 I know is too high for my CO2 laser, but it's good enough for what we're trying to do right now. And then we can go back and regroup all that together again. And now when we hide things, it all hides separately. But shows, but moves around as one piece. So I select it, it's all one now for the selection. This is all one for the selection. And this is all one for the selection. So now you've got your entities to do all that. So there's your ornament. This is probably a bit long video, but it's all about the design and working through the issues that come along the way and how to resolve, the spacing of the texts or the numbers in this case, so that it all fits. And that's it. That's the entire design of this ornament. You can make any ornaments you want. You can go and go like on Creative Fabrica, find Christmas tree designs, and then you can take a Christmas tree design and make a ornament like these guys here, where they are. You put your trees in, you weld it into the part. But they put the snowflakes in and you weld it into the part. So you can make your own designs yourself for your own ornaments. And if you want, you could actually, once you create your designs, because they are your designs, you created them from scratch. Nobody owns those royalties. You can save them for yourself, or you can list them on Etsy and resell your designs. Creative Fabrica, the artwork and stuff, if you're a paid member, is royalty free and used for commercial purposes, so you can resell. You can't sell the actual design, but you can sell whatever you make with it. Sometimes they even allow you to sell a design, but that's very, very seldom. Most people aren't going to allow you to sell their designs. That's how they want to make money. So there you go. That's my Christmas Countdown ornament. I hope you enjoyed the video.